So I wanted to share some highlights from today's healing because it was a bit of a shamanic journeying, if you will, and it was very funny. Okay, so I have my notes here so I remember everything. Okay, so today the energies that we were working with were volcanic to help with transmutation, like burning away things, specifically clearing out fears from our root and our sacral chakras, because those have a lot to do with safety and security, but on the opposite side of like not feeling safe and secure and having like lack mentality, scarcity, just having like a lot of self-limiting beliefs. This is also where a lot of our PTSD and trauma is held within, so I really wanted to focus on that today. Clearing out stories, narratives, and identities that are no longer serving us. I wanted to turn the camera around so y'all could see this cardinal here. Hold on. Cutie. Since we were talking about volcanoes and it being red with the red cardinal, we were all meeting up next to this volcano, and then somebody said to me, somebody in the group, their energy body said, "Girl, I don't like being too hot." And I was like, oh no, we're not actually gonna get like physically hot, not like with our physical body. This is more for our energy body. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, but I get you, okay. So then somebody else came up to me because we were standing next to this volcano and said, are we gonna walk across coals? Like, you know, like the black holes, like Tony Robbins does, because that's one of his like fire walking ceremonies. If you don't know who Tony Robbins is, he's a spiritual, I don't even know if he classifies himself as spirit. It doesn't matter. He's a life coach. Okay, like a really famous life coach. But anyway, okay. I was like, if you want to do that, if that's your prerogative and you want to walk across hot coals, like more power to you, okay? During this experience. So then we went to this spa, like from the volcano. I don't know how we ended up at a spa, but we did. And we were all getting massages. But they were hot stone massages, so there was like a whole bunch of them like on our spine, on our backs. That was lovely. And then we went to go to these lava tubs. They weren't exactly filled with lava. It was more like this watery charcoal mix that, like, when we went in and we actually like dunked our heads in, it crystallized like on our bodies, almost like a mud bath would, okay, or like a mud mask. Oh my gosh, my words, a mud mask. And so what it was doing, it was helping like absorb all of these like toxins from our body, but not necessarily like physical toxins, but like energetic toxins. And then it was cracking on our skin and then kind of like peeling away. I know that sounds like really intense, but it was lovely. It wasn't like super intense. And then we went to the hot springs to get all of that kind of like charcoal stuff off of us. And I was like, okay, are y'all just telling me all the things that you think of when you think of like volcanoes and like hot and fire? And everybody was like, yeah. And I was like, I love it. That's great. Okay. Because everybody was giving me like all these different suggestions, all of y'all's energy bodies. And so that after we left the springs, we all created a bonfire, and that was really cute. We were all sitting together on logs, like around it, like you would see it like Boy Scouts or something like that. And then we were roasting marshmallows over the fire, and that was cute. And I was like, okay, well, let's all get out sheets of paper and do a fire ceremony where we put what we want to release and then toss it in. And so we all did that. And then I had everybody stand up. Okay, I want you to envision that, like, I'm talking to, like, okay, look at me. So make more sense. Okay, look at me. When we have these different past versions that are holding on to these behavioral patterns and these identities, and these stories, oftentimes it's younger versions of us. Like, it could be you, any version of you younger, not just inner children and teens, okay, but like 20s, 30s, 40s, I don't know how old you are, but okay. And so every person's energy body walked up to me and I could see all of their past versions, and I took everybody by the arms, like individually, and I was like, you are all coming with us, okay? Because one of their biggest fears sometimes of these old versions or younger versions is that they're going to disappear, or that their timelines are going to collapse. Even though they are you, they're living in different time and space, if that makes sense. We don't have to get super deep into that, but I said, everybody's coming with, you are safe, you are secure, we love you. We just want to help you shift into the new timeline so that we can experience more joy and peace and magic and fun and prosperity and abundance and more laughter in our lives. But in order to do that, we need you to make a shift onto the new timeline, and you have to trust us, like these new higher self versions, that we're going to hold your hand and pull you to the other side. And even though you don't know what that's going to look like, it's going to be a million times better over there. Okay, but you've done this over and over again. Like, we're constantly shifting identities, but when we're going through like really big transformations, especially like with the eclipse and the 4/4 portal, that can be really scary because it's asking you to like release so much at once. And even though we consciously want to do that, there's sometimes a comfortability in heaviness, right? In like trauma and PTSD. It's the known. And I was like, we need to let go of that. Okay, we're not letting go of you, but we need to let go of all that stuff so we can move forward. And so they really needed that confirmation and validation that they're not going to disappear. Okay, like, we're all going together. And then all of a sudden, Set Fire to the Rain started playing. It's an Adele song, and so that was somebody's suggestion, and then it started playing overhead, and I was like, that's very cute. And then all these little firebirds started showing up. They were like this big, but they were like on fire, and they landed on everybody and kind of looked like the cardinal, but on fire. And they were pecking at us and they were pulling off, it looked like worms, but it wasn't. It was just symbolic of like heavy dense energy that had been attached to our energy fields, our auric fields, our light bodies, and they were helping clean all of those off. Kind of like, I don't know if you've seen a video of like hippos, and they have like these birds that do that for them, but in this case they were doing it for us. And then I took everybody to this other place. I'm not exactly sure where it was, but I took everybody. It was almost like we were on a stage. We might have been in Hawaii, I'm not really sure, but I was showing everybody how to light fire in their hands, and then I was like, watch this. And it started whipping around my body, right? And it was burning away anything that's like no longer serving me. And I asked everybody's inner children and their teens if they wanted to come forward at that time to do it. And they were like, heck yeah. And they were like, it's not going to burn us. And I was like, no. I said, it's not actually going to like burn your skin or anything. And so I was showing everybody's kids like how to whip the fire around themselves. And oh my gosh, they just loved that so much. They're like, oh, we're firebenders, like from Avatar. And I was like, yes. And if you haven't seen that, don't worry, like it's fine. Like some kids have seen it and some have not, but I was explaining to them like what a fire wielder is. But they were just having the best time. And I think it helped. There was, I don't know how many necessarily, but there were a few kids that were like afraid of fire. I don't know if something has like happened necessarily in your life, if you're the one that I'm speaking to, maybe something like scary, like in real life, or maybe like your parent was a firefighter or something, or you saw something in a movie that spooked you. But a couple of the kids were a little apprehensive about it, and so I just took some time explaining to them that fire itself is not necessarily the scary thing. It's more like the experience of whatever happened, and then helping them with like whipping the fire around and showing them like, oh, this is actually really fun. And it doesn't have to be the scary thing. That was very healing for them, and they feel a lot more comfortable with that as well. And so I want to say I love y'all so much. I hope you have an amazing portal day, and that you feel some of the heaviness de-shed out of your energy fields. This was a super fun journey, and I appreciate all of the suggestions that I received from y'all's energy bodies. That was really fun.